try to restrict your presentation to the JD of the job and try to showcase the variety of the work that you have done throughout your career.
Welcome to PhD Talk Show by BioPatrika. I am Puspam, today's host, and today we have Meenakshi Ghosh, who's working as a research investigator in Syngene International Limited. Hello, Meenakshi.
Hi Pushpam, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. So now you are working as a research investigator, and before that, I am certain that there is a journey behind it. So we want to focus on that journey. So,
Right.
which college did you attend for your bachelor's and master's?
So actually, I did my graduation from Presidency College, Kolkata, and I did my master's from Madurai Kamraj University at Madurai.
How was your experience in that?
I would say college was great. So apart from the fun part, which actually is associated with college life, I mean, I got to explore many new ideas and many new concepts during college days, and which was very fascinating to me. Yeah, it was nice overall.
So, in your college, when you were there, what was something which motivated you for your PhD degree?
For PhD, I would say that during the end of my graduation, actually, I started, reading a little bit of research papers from here and there, and I used to find it very fascinating how people design experiments, and then how the experiments that usually conducted. I mean, it leads to new findings, and I used to find that very interesting. And I mean, at that point of time, I obviously understand most of the things in the papers that were reported, but the whole thing I used to enjoy reading and going through the figures and how the experiments are designed and all those. So I think that would have been the initial motivation for me to go towards research. And also during my MSc, I mean my MSc dissertation was on crystallography, so I enjoyed I did a lot of protein purification and then crystallizing proteins and then solving the structure of co-crystals. So that entire journey has been very enriching for me, and I was very interested. I mean, I became very interested in structural biology, and I think that was the final thing that I want to pursue PhD after this.
So, it seems that you are science enthusiast. So, where did you attend your college degree, PhD degree, especially?
Yeah, so actually, I did my PhD from Indian Institute of Science.
Okay. So, how was your experience in PhD?
PhD, I mean, the experience is great, I would say, because I had a very cool advisor. He was extremely supportive, and discussions with him actually, helped to get a clear view of the ideas or to think about things which, otherwise would be eluded. And so, yeah, it was actually great to be, doing, I mean, to get an opportunity to work in such a wonderful lab. And also I think the environment of the lab also plays a major role, I mean, during your PhD, because you would spend a lot of your I mean lot of time there, right? So I mean the people in my lab were very supportive and very helpful. So yeah, I mean, it was fun. And apart from that, I think friends also play a very huge role. So I had a great bunch of friends during my PhD. So yeah, overall, now if I look back, the experience has been very enriching, I would say. But yeah, there were difficult times as well, because when sometimes when the experiments won't work, would fail, and then if you would be stuck somewhere and you won't be able to figure out things. But I think all these are part of the learning process. So yeah, overall I had great time during PhD.
So, you mentioned about your challenges in the PhD. So, what were those challenges?
So specifically, I don't remember any challenge as such at this point of time. But I mean, normally, if you have planned for an experiment of it and it fails after you have conducted it, you tend to feel little dejected. So I was talking about that. I mean, nothing specific as such.
Okay, that's great point. Like the other thing you mentioned during your PhD, like you had a backup of friends, and also I think sometimes in our professional life we have so much backup from our family members. So, what was the role of friends and family members in your career path?
So I would say that the role of family members and my friends has been immense. I mean, the support that I got from them has been immense, because I think I'm someone who little needs a little emotional support at times. So I don't think without their support and help I would have been where I am right now. So
Yeah, that's a great point. I think in PhD and also in career journey, we often need support from personal like family members also. So that's great to know that you had that support. So after
Right.
PhD, you like you chose to come into the industry. Were there other things which you also considered?
Yeah, so actually, I would say you that when I was writing my thesis, or I was actually considering postdoc. I was applying to few labs when I was writing my thesis, or even after I had submitted my thesis, I was applying to labs for postdoc positions and all. But then, due to personal reasons, I decided to chose back to stay back to stay here in India. So at that point of time, I started applying for jobs, but to be honest, I did not hear back from any of them at that point of time. And during that time in my campus, actually campus placements were going on, so I had enrolled myself there and I got my first job from the campus placement actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great to know that campus placement was helping you.
Yeah,
So
yeah, actually it helped. Otherwise, without that, I don't think I would have been able to bag a job so soon after my PhD.
that's great to know. So, like, were there any other motivations for you to choose industry roles over like academic positions?
So as I said, you like at that point of time, I chose to stay back in India due to reasons. But yeah, I also wanted to to see to it that my research has some translational role in where I can contribute somewhere in a translational role, and I think that was another factor why I joined industry.
Yeah, so you joined the industry and you said that you got campus placement. So how was the like process like, especially the interview process?
So for the campus placement, actually for my first job, I mean the process was pretty straightforward. So I had one round of interview only. It was a panel round of interview. So that's it. I mean for the campus interview, only one round of panel interview I had. So yeah. But for the second job, actually, it was like a regular process. Like you would have one round of panel interview followed by two one-to-one rounds and then one HR round and so on. But yeah, for the campus placement, I had just one panel interview round. Yeah.
So was this campus placement in Syngene?
No, no, no. It was in Dr. Reddy's actually. So campus
Okay.
place through yeah. So my first job was in Dr. Reddy's. So through campus placements, I had got a job there, and my second job is actually in Syngene. Yeah.
So in Syngene, you faced like multiple rounds of interviews.
Multiple rounds. Yeah, the first round was the panel interview round that I said. After that, I had couple of one-to-one rounds and then one HR round. Yeah.
So, like, I want to know something more, especially for the like viewers, like how these interviews play out. Like, what are some of the things you should take care when you are entering into these interviews?
So for the panel interview round, actually, I had prepared a presentation, where I had collated all the work that I had done over the years to give them an idea of all on the techniques that I have worked on, and also I kept in mind that it is, correlated to the JD for of the job for which I'm applying. Try to refrain it to the JD of the job. Don't show everything that you have done because it won't be of any interest to the interview members as well, right? So try to restrict your presentation to the JD of the job and try to showcase the variety of the work that you have done throughout your career. So I tried to present make a presentation based on this, and I presented that in the panel interview. And there would be questions after that based on the work that you have shown, and also based on your CV points. So don't also thing I would like to mention is that in your CV try to write about things which you actually know. Don't just write things, put everything in the CV, because you would be asked questions based on those points, and if you can't answer that, that looks bad because you have put that in CV and then but you're not able to answer. So try to put points which you really know and which you have really done in the CV, because one would be asked question based on the points that you have mentioned in the CV, and also the presentation that you have made during that you have given during the panel interview round. So for the first round, I think that was pretty much it. And for the one-to-one rounds, you would be asked in general, like the work that you have done and the work that you're supposed to do. Based on those 2 points, you would be asked questions. Yeah. And then in HR round, I think behavioral questions you would be asked, and then things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems so from your discussion, like job description is very important and it plays a key role. At the same time, knowing what you have done and putting that in your resume is much more important than putting many things.
Right, because initially when I remember initially when I was applying for jobs, I used to put everything that I have done. I used to be like, why won't I put? I have done this, I know this, so I think I should put it. So I would put all the things that I would know, and the CV would look very bulky. And I don't know if anyone would be interested you to go through such a bulky CV. I think your CV should be very precise and concise and to the point. I mean, according to how the JD is, the CV should be tailor made according to the JD for which you're JD of the job for which you're applying. So yeah, I mean that was, I think, one mistake that I have learned over the years, because initially, as I said you, I would put everything on in the CV.
So right now you are working in the industry, and I mean there are many differences from academia to industry, but also there were some skills which you have garnered in the academic labs which you used in the industry. So what are those skills which we should be focusing on when we are doing our PhD?
See, I mean, technical knowledge is obviously up to you. I mean, if you're doing a PhD over a period of so many years, you would have gained that knowledge. So I won't talk about the technical knowledge, but some things that I would like to point out is time management. I think time management is very important, which we all learn during our PhD, and it becomes very helpful when we are transitioning in industry. And I think after that, I think planning is also very important. I mean, which in turn also contributes to time management, because I feel that a well planned experiment is actually half the experiment done. So it's very important that you plan everything properly and then you start doing. So that is one thing that I have learned, and I also implement that in my day to day life. And apart from that, I think it's also one more thing is that I think it's very important to have backup plans for your experiment. Because obviously you won't know how an experiment is going to fail even before you start doing it or start trying it. But I think having alternate experiments in mind helps you to save that time when you're trying to figure things out. And also, you never know, you might get some extra insights from those experiments which might help you in the main experiment. So I think it's good to have one or two backup plans ready when you're planning for a big experiment. Yeah.
In this case, it seems that like planning and time management are some of the soft skills which you have focused. So I think from academia, we learn so many things, and all these soft skills are playing a big role when we are moving to industry.
Exactly. Though, I mean, absolutely. I mean, as I mentioned, that time management, I mean, it would come very handy, because if we would always plan for the day's experiment, what you're going to do for the for the day. We would plan, at least a day before that, right? So I think that comes very handy when you're. I mean, why only industry? I think that comes handy in your day to day life as well. So yeah, that is one thing which is an important thing. Yeah.
So now you are working in the industry for like almost 2.5 years, right? In this
Right.
in this journey, when you look at your PhD life, what are some of the things you think that you could have done differently in your PhD to assist you more in your current position?
I don't know. I sometimes feel that if I would have the opportunity to do an internship in the industry, it would have, given me an extra edge. But I'm not sure whether, I mean, in India, if while doing PhD, I mean, I don't think that is our, norm here. Like, while doing PhD, if you, I mean, whether you would be, you get a chance to do internship in industry, because you would be, focused on completing your PhD. I don't know how things work abroad, but yeah, in India I don't think. But yeah, if given a chance, I would and I would have loved to do an internship during my PhD in industry, to help know better, because usually when you're in academia, you don't really know what goes into the PhD. I was actually clueless, to be honest. Like, yeah, what is the application process, and what happens in industry actually. I mean, you get to read articles, but you don't know the actual scenario, right, until and unless you start working there. So I think, yeah, if people who want to transition to industry towards the end of your PhD, having done, if you get an opportunity to do 1 or 2 months of internship, that would have been really helpful.
So you brought a very interesting point, where we don't know what's happening in the industry environment. So do you feel like we should be thinking about it ahead and try to connect with people? And did you ever connect with someone?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's very important important to build connections, and try to connect with your seniors, because I mean, who seniors who are in industry, because the seniors generally help a lot, right? So, and if you ask them for referrals, I mean, definitely you would. I mean, that would have an extra edge, and yeah, I mean, also connect with people, on LinkedIn. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you know them or not. You can send them a message, like if you're looking for a position, send them a message, give a brief description about yourself and the type of job that you're looking in. Because, many times there are internal opportunities, right, which are not even advertised in the job portal. So if you connect with people, you obviously get an extra edge over there. So yeah, I do connect with people. I mean, obviously, I mean, otherwise it's. I think that is an essential part. Yeah.
So when we are connecting with people, it seems that like this connection helps us a lot, whether it's for job applications or for something else. So did you had any like mentor who helped you a lot in this regard?
Not exactly, but sometimes even if a person cannot help you directly, they can help you with advice, right? They can always give you some advice, or where to apply or how to apply. So that advice also comes a long way, I would say. But it's not necessary that a person I mean, you would get direct help from a person, but asking about their experience or getting some insights, that also helps a lot. So
I think that's pretty much sums up everything, because experience is something very important, and I think that's why our viewers would also get benefited from good experience when you are sharing it with them. So like learning, we are always learning a lot from others people experiences also.
right, right.
So
Exactly.
in this regard, I wanted to know like how your typical week looks like especially work life.
So, a typical week, I would say, it would again start with planning for the entire week, like with the experiments that that are lined up for the week. So it starts with that planning, and then, I mean, every week, generally, I mean, you would have different proteins to purify. So, if there is an unconventional protein for which the purification is not straightforward, we try standardizing the purification strategy for that. And then we do protein conjugation as well. So if it is a new protein, you would try standardizing that, and then start the experiment. And apart from that, we also review project proposals and cost sheets. I mean, if it is a new project or new proposal that is coming up, we need to review the project proposal, and look at the cost sheet. But that is obviously not entire, I mean, every week job. I mean, as and when the project, I mean, you have new project, you would need to do that. And also, like, you have to do a lot of client interaction, interacting with the client about the deliverables, and make sure that the projects are I mean, stick to the timeline that has been given, prepare Gantt chart, communicate with the client. So yeah, this pretty much sums up the entire, I mean, a typical week at work.
Yeah, that's great to know. So I mean, you are obviously very busy in your professional life, but do you manage to do any hobbies or anything else?
Yeah, actually I love traveling. So so during weekends, actually I look forward to one day trips. It does not have to be at exotic place or somewhere. I mean, we just drive and then spend some time and come back. So it helps in recharging for the next week actually. So I love traveling, and apart from that, I also like love stargazing actually. So these few a couple of months back, I got a refractor telescope as well. So like, if the sky is clear, and I take that out in the balcony, and look at planets if there is any, and look at stars. Yeah, so I love doing that.
That's very interesting and obviously exciting also.
Yeah, yeah, actually, I mean, when you're starting out, you see something, I mean, about what you have read, and then you just see it in the sky. It's really interesting, and it feels great.
That's great to know. Thank you so much, Meenakshi, for sharing your experience with our viewers.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting. Yeah.